Now, here's Rob Dibble.
Well, the Mets are clearly in Buck Showalter save his job mode as they continue to win, which is nice.
5 straight,
Yep,
man.
5 straight. Carrasco, the old man, pitched well enough to get the win. D-backs, who had been playing really well, they just cannot stop the onslaught. 19 hits, 9 runs. I almost mentioned about Alvarez's game-tying home run in the ninth the night before. Circling the bases, he did a 360. And I was just like, in my day, that would bother me. It wouldn't get me to the point where I'd have to retaliate. I might mention it to somebody I know on the other team and say, hey, he's going to get one of you hurt. I've said this before. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hit him. I'm going to hit you. So you either straighten him out or I'll straighten you out. And that's the way Norm and I and the other guys in the pitch
Especially
staff
for a rook or for a youngster.
Right. So he's a rookie. You know, Lindor should be telling this kid, hey, dude, don't be doing 360s. The only other tool that I ever saw do that was Barry Bonds. And Barry Bonds hit 750, whatever home run, 770 home runs. So, you know, this guy is 20, 21 years old. He's exuberant. I get all that. But you've got a minute in the big leagues. And so there's a way you conduct yourself. But I didn't want to say anything because we were into a bunch of other stuff that we were having fun yesterday. And you know, people would be, oh, there he is, he's screaming at the clouds again. You know, but it came back, and like Kurt's right, they don't fight, they dance. You and I were talking off the air, Nashville and whoever they were playing.
Colorado.
Yeah,
maybe.
Colorado, somebody, you know, no, it's Columbus.
Columbus
Clippers,
COL,
ring your bell. Yeah. Anyway, they got into a little dance off, and it's like, first of all, if you're going to fight. But when you're fighting over something like egregious, like you tried to hurt my second baseman, or you hit my player in the head,
right,
and you did something that was so egregious that we now have to retaliate, or we're going to fight because we feel like we were threatened. You threatened my career, or you threatened my teammate. But this was the catcher and a guy popping off at each other. The umpire does what he's supposed to do, get in between and try to, you know, calm things down. And all of a sudden the dude goes nuts and goes through the umpire. So you're facing a long-term suspension here at the minor league level. You don't even have the money to pay for some of these fines that you could get. So it's just, to me, you gotta be a little bit smarter than the offense that you just committed. But the Alvarez thing, I have no problem with that. You know, because if you're Alvarez, you shouldn't be offended. You should feel like, hey, I just hit 3 home runs in 3 days. That's respect. They don't think they can get me out, so they hit me. So they gave me first base. So, I mean, it's just business. We're in the business of getting you out. We can't get you out. We're going to start hitting you. So I don't know why you're offended and the benches need to clear and then guys got to run in from the bullpen and nothing really happens, but it is part of baseball, and we're getting towards the All-Star break, and people are starting to look at their numbers and look at other things, and you're going to see more frustration in the next 2 months of guys either, you know, losing their minds on the mound or losing their minds at the plate because of being frustrated about their numbers.
Regardless, win's a win now, and it's a big West Coast sweep there for the New York Mets. And Arizona Diamondbacks are on cruise control. That's the first time this season the Diamondbacks have been shut out. So great job there on the mound, too, Carlos Carrasco. I didn't know that either. SNY just threw that up on the screen. Now they go to the Padres, which is just a big money series. Oh, man, think about all that money that's being spent on those 2 rosters. But a big win for them. Boston Red Sox get another big win at home against the Texas Rangers on an Eovaldi night. I was thinking that this was going to be a perfect game or a no-hitter, but then he comes back to Fenway, and let's see. I want to actually look at his stuff. Let's see how he did. 5 1/3, 4 earns, 3 strikeouts. Not the greatest.
Not the greatest, but you could tell that, you know, watching some of the highlights that I saw, he looked uncomfortable. And I think a lot of that is I'm coming back, I'm pumped up, I'm overamped. Probably said hello to a lot of his friends, which also, comes into your mind that, hey, I'm not going to be thrown under their chin. I'm not going to knock them off the plate. I'm not going to be doing everything I've been doing to all these other teams that I have really no relationship with. And now you have a relationship with these guys, and they're like, listen, Turner, Yoshida, Devers. Yoshida doesn't know him from Adam. He didn't play with him last year. Devers is a guy that I don't think he cares whether he played with you or he plays against you. He's all business all the time of, I'm going to get the most out of every at-bat. So you look at the guys who did a lot of damage last night. Very professional guys. Justin Turner, he's amazing. Hitting 285. What is he, 39 years old? He continues to amaze me with how well he plays third and first base and on defense. But on offense, man, this guy has replaced J.D. Martinez as the most professional hitter in that lineup.
Yeah, for sure. 2 for 4 night last night. Big RBI for him. They really put together an awesome inning in I think it was the 7th inning. Yeah, bottom 7th inning. They scored 6 runs. I thought it was middle relief versus middle relief. I think you kind of had a wash on the starters and see what you got in the bullpen. The Boston Red Sox kind of threw the kitchen sink out to win this ball game, and got it done there in the middle, which Winckowski gets the win on this as he was the third to last pitcher used.
I just think it's Winckowski.
Winckowski?
Yeah.
I'm horrible. And I'm kind of Polish. I feel bad that I mess up Vanessa's name all the time.
Could be Winckowski.
Let's just call him Wink.
Let's call him Wink Martindale.
The big Wink.
21 pitches, 15 for strikes is a nice night for him. Like you said, they use 5 guys out of their pen. The Texas Rangers use 5 guys out of their pen. That's kind of embarrassing for a 9-inning game. And the Rangers pitchers only threw 8 innings out of their thing. They threw 172 pitches versus 154 of the Red Sox. But listen, Cutter Crawford didn't have a great night. He looked like he's inconsistent and has 1 or 2 bad innings. But Eovaldi is the story. This is a guy that he knows he's going to the All-Star game. That is also, I got the crap beat out of me after I found out the first time I made the All-Star team. Things happen in certain situations where emotions run high. And the Texas Rangers certainly didn't look like the Texas Rangers. I'd like to go back to the Mets for a second. They scored 19 runs in 3 games.
Yeah.
That's the kind of offense that they've been looking for all season. And if that can continue, and Alonso really didn't contribute to that.
Lindor did.
Alvarez did. Nimmo did. A lot of these other guys did. If that could continue, the Mets are going to be fine. And I said this before, I think the Mets are in way better situation, than the Yankees. Yankees offense is abysmal. What they did last night, again, against Baltimore. Baltimore not only pounded on Severino, they pounded on the bullpen, which they need a few days off at the All-Star break.
20 hits.
It just,
20
the
knocks.
Baltimore Orioles are a good, solid team. A lot of young guys. This Gunnar Henderson in the last 30 games has turned his season around. Was awful the first 40 games. In his last 35 games has turned it around. Has been on fire.
Best night of his life last night.
Oh yeah,
4 for 7, 2 home runs, 5 RBI.
But if you see some of these nights that these guys are having, what was it? Lindor 2 nights ago had a home run, had 2 triples. He was 5 for 5. I mean, these guys now, the last thing some of these players need is a break. I would honestly say that about Alvarez or Lindor or some of these guys that are actually starting to play well right now, Gunnar Henderson. So sometimes the All-Star break comes at an inopportune time. And so for the Mets right now, they're on fire. And I don't see that stopping with the Padres.
Harrison Bader at 264, Anthony Rizzo at 261 are your leading batting averages for the New York Yankees right now. Volpe continues to struggle. He's now leading off. He went 0 for 4 last night. He's got his average up to a whopping 220. You're looking at a 144 for Josh Donaldson. That's just criminal that's even a major league statistic right now that's accepted. With the New York Yankees, dude, without Aaron Judge coming back, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, could be even longer than that. Keep your fingers crossed.
It's amazing the Yankees are where they are.
I agree.
They didn't have their pitching staff. The only 3 teams in the American League that are worse hitting than them are awful teams. Royals, Tigers, Athletics.
Yeah.
All 3 of those teams have one thing in common. They're not good. So if you're the New York Yankees, and like we talked about the Mets last week, we'll talk about the Yankees this week. When you have a huge payroll, but it's more so the star power. You have a lot of star names, but they're one-dimensional players. They're big swing and miss guys. Stanton can't play defense. Donaldson can't play defense. Some of these other guys are questionable on defense. And so when you're looking at that kind of stuff, you're saying, well, why do we even have those guys? They said that about Aaron Hicks. He goes to the Orioles. He's hitting better. He's had a higher batting average. I think he's hitting like 265. He's got like 5 home runs. He's getting consistent work as well. And that's the only way you're going to be good. So here's the problem with the Yankees. You have a lot of guys making huge contracts that we have to shove in the lineup. We got to put Donaldson in the lineup because he is making $16 million a year. So I got to put him either at the DH or third base where he's a liability. And so a lot of the things that I look at on a nightly basis without Aaron Judge is there is that you guys put yourself in this situation. With your win now attitude, which 5 years ago, given what they were going through, they said, okay, we're going to stop with that. We're going to try to skew younger. They made huge trades. They had like 13 players they traded for 5 of their older players, which was huge for Brian Cashman. And Gleyber Torres is like one of the last guys that was involved in a bunch of those trades. So when you look at some of these guys that they have gotten in return, have already gotten rid of, the Gary Sanchez's that you held on to too long, you put yourself in this situation with your analytics department and Brian Cashman thinking we're going to get a lot of swing and miss guys that when they do hit the ball, the Yankee crowd will go crazy, but now it's few and far between. And now you're saying, well, you can't unload these guys.
Yeah.
Who's going to take a bunch of guys that swing and miss all the time or are hitting $150?
One guy I like, and it did something that's, I think, special in this day and age. I still like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I was worried about him coming in to be some kind of shortstop answer, and he hasn't even played shortstop. One thing he has done, he's done whatever. Yep. He pitched last night, Dibbs. He gave up 1 hit, but threw a scoreless inning. 13 pitches, 10 were for strikes.
That's not what he does all the time.
But this dude is like, whatever you need, I will catch. He's caught before. Right. I will play outfield. Right, left, or center, I'll play the infield, and I'll even pitch. This dude's average is one of the best on the team as well. Like, this guy is at least pulling his weight for his salary. I just want to give that guy some kind of respect because I think out of all of those guys, he is the biggest gamer that is left on the roster. It's not on the IL.
I love Higashioka. I think he's
I like him too.
Obviously, calling the perfect game that he did for German. When he's catching, he's amazing out there. He'll do whatever you ask him to do. I like Harrison Bader. I mean, I don't like the thing that's in his mouth all the time. I don't know what that guard is or whatever it is, so he doesn't bite his tongue off or something. But
he's rabid.
It drives me nuts to look at that. But other than that, the guy plays hard. He's just injured all the time. He's only played in 40 games so far this year. Some of the other guys, Willie Calhoun, Bowers. Again, these are stopgap guys. They're not your future. Right. They certainly aren't superstar players, but they're playing when the Judges and the other guys are injured. And what does that say? You have a fragile lineup. But who set up this lineup? Brian Cashman got his extension. Aaron Boone may lose his job because of the lineup that he didn't pick.
Yes.
That's the one thing I can say about Aaron is that I don't blame him for what's out there every day. I don't think he fills out the lineup.
No.
I don't think that he was in on the meetings with the analytics people that said, these are the guys that we want. Now, listen, DJ LeMahieu won a batting title. This guy could hit. The fact that he's hitting 219 where he should be hitting 319, I can't explain that.
What happened?
I can't explain that. But some of the other guys, again, I said this when the season started, Cabrera, Volpe should probably be developing in the minor leagues, but I don't blame Cashman for this. The fan base was like, we got to have these guys in the big leagues. We got to have these guys in the big leagues. The kid Garcia just got sent back to the minor leagues. He's not perfect, but when you overhype guys, and you see this all the time, which brings us to Wembanyama or whatever this dude's name is in basketball.
Yep.
You set them up to fail. Your job's to put them in a position to succeed.